Here's a question with Aspinall. What happens with Aspinall in the second round? If you want to talk about a guy who sprints, you want to talk about a guy who's fast, one of the fastest heavyweights, he might be the fate in the history of the sport. I don't think anybody moves like that guy does. He beat everybody else's ass too. All the other heavyweights, ragdoll dudes way bigger than him. He's just a freak. And he is, again, the next the next advancement of Aspinall. Fights Pavlich. And takes that fight on 2 weeks' notice and becomes the interim champion and fucks his back up and can't train at all. But Aspinall, like that guy's, he's something special. He really is something special. He's a very unusual example because he's a heavyweight and he's a big guy, a really big guy, but he moves so fast. And his coach, Colin, I forget, it's from Cabal, this gym that he trains at in the UK, Colin Huron. He trained Darren Till. Colin, from the early days of the career, was like emphasizing his speed. And so his speed has always been like extraordinary compared to other heavyweights. Like he just fucking moves in. It's all like fast, explosive movements. So he's got natural speed, but then he's also got a lot of training to execute quickly. So when he moves in, he closes the gap. You can see like, fuck, he's fast. For a big guy.
Right.
Joe Rogan and the MMA community are buzzing over the upcoming Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane fight in October at Abu Dhabi, calling it one of the most anticipated heavyweight clashes in recent UFC history. Rogan and fans highlight Aspinall as the future of the division, praising his speed, boxing, ground transitions, and composure, even comparing him to the prime days of Cain Velasquez as one of the most complete heavyweights ever.
Finally got Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane. Chill, we've been screaming about this Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane for a long time. UFC 321, Tom minus 325, Gane plus 260. We finally got the fight, but the world doesn't seem to believe, Chael, that it's a close fight. And I don't really agree with that line. I think this fight is much closer. Tom Aspinall minus 325, Cyril Gane plus 265.
Tom Aspinall is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. What's the first step for him?
You give him the number one contender, Cyril Gane. Cyril Gane is somebody that's a big heavyweight, that's very agile. I don't think Tom Aspinall gets rid of him right away like he has with other people. And I think that'll be a big indication if Jon Jones wants to come back and reclaim that bout once again.
I think you're absolutely right. Fight that makes sense. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane. Let's make that happen. Cyril Gane is, people forget how fantastic he is. A guy that can kind of float around the octagon, touch you, kick you, hit you with elbow. He's just a complete game. But man, Tom's movement, his boxing, speed, and his power, it's very, very difficult to doubt this man anymore.
Dana was in here and he says you're never too far away from a title shot, right? Just because your name value, the fights you put on and stuff like that. Is that something you would like to start climbing towards? Or are you happy just fighting these young up-and-comers and getting a seemingly easy win?
Seemingly easy win? He was the king of the taxi cab drivers in Brazil, man.
Wow.
But no, I don't want an easy fighting like that. I want, of course, I would like to do one more run at the title. That'd be good.
I think he's awesome, man. I think he's awesome. I think he should go on and have a wonderful career.
Do you think that he needs you?
No, I think he needs me. I think when you want something bad enough, and if you get it, it could be the worst thing that could ever happen to you.
Fans highlight Tom Aspinall's dominance over opponents like Marcin Tybura and Sergey Pavlovich, praising his ability to blend striking and grappling as a major problem for Cyril Gane. However, Gane's supporters argue that despite criticism of his grappling defense against Jon Jones, his striking remains unmatched at heavyweight. Known for moving like a middleweight, controlling distance with precision, and breaking opponents down once he finds his rhythm, Gane's stand-up game is still considered elite.
Cyril Gane is a fantastic striker. I mean, he's one of the most beautiful strikers in the heavyweight division. He does wild stuff. You ever see how he throws that front kick from a side stance? And he throws it like a twisting kick. He stands like southpaw, right? And he bobs around like this. And he's totally sideways. And he twists his foot out. Like a twisting kick. He did a lot of them against Tai Tuivasa. He's so fast, man. He just does this weird thing where he stands sideways. And instead of the front kick going like this, like straight out, the front kick goes like this. So
I know. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So his knee when he lands is almost like sideways. It's just so unusual for a heavyweight, that kind of movement. But he'll show it totally sideways.
Just a little trick. you
Almost like a
fucking learned.
crescent kick or something like that. Did you see the Derek Lewis Cyril Gane fight? Cyril Gane beat the shit out of him. Cyril Gane, who's 6'5", 247 pounds, moves like a 170 pounder. He's bouncing like Wonder Boy. Completely changed the standard of heavyweight striking.
Can Cyril Gane beat Tom Aspinall?
Cyril Gane has a wrestling problem. Imavov uses a jab to blind Gane's vision, immediately changing levels and shooting a clean double leg, wrapping the knees to take him down. He rides Gane's back, sagging his weight and returning him to the mat every time he tries to stand, as Gane attempts to break the grip by pushing down on the hands and running laterally to create space. Imavov trips out the far leg, regaining dominant top position. When Gane tries to scramble up again, he's caught in a tight guillotine. Can Cyril Gane beat?
Fans who support Gane argue that Aspinall has never faced a striker with his level of IQ, and if Gane can keep the fight standing, he could wear Tom down round by round. That's what makes this matchup so fascinating. While it looks like a classic grappler versus striker on paper, both fighters actually far more complete. Aspinall brings underrated striking and lightning hand speed, while Gane has solid grappling defense paired with world-class footwork.
Ready, a sick fight card. Obviously, with Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane, Jalton Almeida and Volkov being the co-main event, if they are, just being on the fight card, they're going to be a backup fighter if anything happens to the main event. What's your thoughts on Volkov versus Gane? Sorry, Aspinall versus Gane.
I mean, I think it's the next best thing that we could get right now with Jon Jones not being able to do it and stepping away. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what Tom's plan is going to be, because I think on the feet, they're pretty evenly matched. I think it could be fun on the feet, but I think there's definitely a huge advantage for Aspinall when it comes to the wrestling and the grappling. And I think he'd be silly to not at least attempt to make it a bit of a grappling match and try to get the ground and pound, take him down. And we'll see. If he can defend takedowns, it could be a lot of fun. But if not, I think Tom could make some quick work. But there's a lot of pressure on Tom, man. We were talking about it on the pre-show this weekend that, you didn't get the Jones fight. You waited all this time, and now you've got to fight somebody else. And it's always tough because you want to win that one to really prove to everybody that, yeah, you are that guy. You are the great. You are the best. You're the reason Jon didn't want to take this fight, blah, blah, blah. If you go and lose that one, you just...
Yeah. Well, we haven't had guests on for a little bit because I've just been all over the place and very, very busy and all the rest of it. So I'll reach out to Tom and see if we can get him on next week, and we'll start getting some guests on again. Tom isn't the type of guy that talks shit.
He said he gonna beat Jon Jones. He moved like Muhammad Ali. I said, Mike, this has to be a gimmick. He goes, Daniel, this fight is gonna last 2 minutes between him and Sergey. I said, bro, Sergey's knocked out 8 dudes in a row. Tom goes and knocks him out. Tom leaves to the back. Bisping's with him, like he's part of the camp.
Just say you'll fight him. He refuses to say still that he'll fight Tom Aspinall, because he was walking through an airport and they were saying, so will you fight Tom Aspinall? And he's like, I fight whoever the champion is. Well, that's Tom Aspinall. I said, yeah, but the fight's not going to happen for a year. So we'll see who the champion is at that time.
It's almost an unfair comparison, right? When we talk about pressure versus pressure, everybody's under tremendous pressure. But I guess when you kind of look at it from not just pressure, but potential legacy and career and what's on the line, I think it's hard to not go with Tom Aspinall because the heavyweight division is on the line. If Gane goes in and beats him, no disrespect to Gane, love the guy, the heavyweight division loses a lot of respect. Even if Tom goes out there and it's a close fight, or he gets dropped and then has to come back or something, like the heavyweight division has so little respect right now, probably deservedly so, I think. With Gane getting his 3rd title shot in a couple years, like Tom has to show that he is the heavyweight division. He has to prove that to the world. Like, I am, the heavyweight division's not just shit, but like, I'm so good that the heavyweight division is shit, right? This is kind of his thing that he has to go out there and prove to the world. And if he goes out there and loses to Gane, the division already is not respected. That brings Tom down significantly, I think, right? And of course, the potential Jon Jones fight, which is whatever, who knows, right? Like, how he beats Gane, assuming he does, may play a factor too. Like, if it turns out to be a close fight, again, John's going to be on his phone with Twitter open watching this fight, like just waiting for Tom to fuck up and get dropped, get leg kicked and limping a little bit, or you know what I mean? Jon can't wait for that moment.
Whoever wins this fight won't just claim victory, they'll claim the narrative as the true heavyweight threat.
When Tom Aspinall got matched up against Cyril Gane, he had a plan to get his revenge. Because although he pretended to pay his respect backstage, he later made a video exposing Cyril ducking him.
Cyril Gane was in attendance, won the fight. Matchmakers came to me and they said, do you want to fight Cyril? I said, absolutely. A day later, I got the phone call, Cyril Gane doesn't want to fight me.
Tom then went ahead and won another fight in the first round. But when he was in the front row of Cyril's fight, Cyril got asked about fighting him next, but turned it down in the octagon.
I know a lot of people talk about Aspinall, but this doesn't make sense for me.
Then UFC came to London, and Tom was supposed to fight Cyril, but he was busy filming his Netflix series that day, so he ended up fighting Curtis and won in the first round. And now, a year later, they've been matched up again.
This is the fourth time they've matched up together.
Who do you think is going to win this fight?
He's dismissed me on multiple occasions, and I'm not the first guy that he's dismissed. The reason that I got the Pavlovich fight was because Cyril didn't want it. He then ducked Curtis Blades. I just don't like the way he does stuff professionally, because that's the opposite to what I do. I'm here to prove I'm the best, not duck out of fights with people.
It is the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, the pride of Wigan, the one and only Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall, Tommy Aspinall, Tommy, defending his undisputed gold, technically for the very first time, against the pride of France, the French prince himself, Bon Gamin himself, the one and only Cyril Gane. These two have been going back and forth for the better part of 2, maybe 3 years. Well, this was the fight that we all thought was going to happen in Tom's official first title defense, and so it is in fact going to happen. Tom wanted to fight in Abu Dhabi. That was the sense that we got when he became undisputed champion. He didn't want to wait for New York. Let's be honest, the tax is a little better over there in Abu Dhabi compared to New York for an Englishman, for anyone, if we're being 100% honest. And so he wanted to be active. He wanted to fight in October. He wanted to fight in Abu Dhabi. It's closer to home, and so they oblige. And you'll recall a few weeks ago I said it's looking like Magomed and Alex, October 4th. It's looking like Tom versus Cyril, October 25th. And it's looking like JDM versus Islam in New York. That would be the next pay-per-view. Now, that hasn't been officially announced. That hasn't been signed, sealed, and delivered. But at this point, I would be surprised, considering how the chips just fell earlier today. I would be surprised if it doesn't play out that way.
Do you think they're going to do Gane and Aspinall next? Because that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I heard they're doing I don't know if I heard this from you or my homie Archie, but they're doing a card in France in August.
That is happening. I think the card in
but
Paris.
That would be weird if I'm Tom. I'm like, yo, I'm not going to France to defend my belt. But maybe he does, because Tom seems like he just wants to fight. So I get that.
Yeah. Well, it's also shorter for Tom too, right? If he is fighting in Paris, right, as opposed to him fighting in the States. So maybe there's some incentive there. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I agree with you. He should be fighting in the UK.
I think Cyril Gane will beat Aspinall.
Serious?
Yeah, I think he'll do it. Firstly, I think Aspinall will go into the fight emotional. He could be irritated by the fact that it's been a year out.
He doesn't see
bro. I think though he's gonna look at Gane and think, all right, Jones beat you in a round. I'm going to do worse to you. And I think he's not going to take Gane as seriously as you should have. And listen, but we don't know what Aspinall is like in that third, that fourth, that fifth. If you can survive that first and second. Aspinall's the favourite. But Gane is not a scrub on the feet. Gane's still technically kickboxing range. He's the better striker. Aspinall packs a punch. He's the heavier puncher. He's got the heavier hands. Boxing wise, he's probably a better boxer as well.
Speed, bro.
But Gane is quick, bro.
Yeah.
Gane is not slow, and Gane's kicks and his range and his striking defense is still elite. But
when
you can't land clean on Gane. You can't land clean on Gane.
Also landed clean on Gane, bro.
That was just
whoever comes out on top in this fight won't just secure a win. They'll cement themselves as the true heavyweight boss and the man to beat in the division.
Aspinall versus Gane is a massive transitional fight for the heavyweight division. What happens after it? I liked the idea of Alex versus Tom right now. You want to know what another interesting fight is? Alex versus Cyril. Alex is not going to beat Uncle Ida, but we got Alex to light heavyweight in the first place by getting him beat. I believe Alex is in that spot right now. I'm bringing all of this to your attention because right now there's one thing for Jon Jones to do, and that is Tom Aspinall. Regardless of what happens between Cyril and Tom, if Alex were to move up and beat beat them, you've now created an opportunity for Alex versus Jon, and that does work. Jon versus Tom is the fight, but Alex versus Jon is the next fight.
Imagine if Cyril Gane beats Tom Aspinall. So it was announced that Tom's first title defense as the undisputed champion will be against former interim champ Cyril Gane. And although me and many others are siding with Tom, we also can't forget that this is the heavyweight division and one shot could change it all. So imagine after everything that happened at heavyweight, Cyril Gane captures the undisputed belt. But more importantly, how would that affect Jon Jones' legacy? Because you know that if Cyril beats Tom, Jon will use MMA math to show everyone why he never had to fight Tom since he defeated Cyril so easily. Even if Tom wins but has a tough time in doing it, Jon will still be at it. Personally, I don't think this changes the fact that Jon was ducking Tom as he saw him as a dangerous matchup. But what do you...
But this fight goes beyond just Tom Aspinall and Cyril Gane. It's about the future of the entire heavyweight division. With Jon Jones sidelined and Francis Ngannou gone to boxing, the division feels wide open. If Aspinall wins, he cements himself as the new king in waiting, the fighter the UFC can build the division around. If Gane pulls it off, he erases the stigma of ducking tough fights and proves he belongs at the very top. And looming in the background is another dangerous name, Magomed Ankalaev.
That he was winning, got caught in a triangle from one of the best guard players in the sport, and now he's the UFC light heavyweight champion of the world against the most devastating champion we've seen in years. I mean, it's really an impressive performance by Ankalaev. He did everything he had to do. He pressured him on the feet. He showed that Pereira has a harder time fighting off the back foot, and he did what had to be done. You know, there was really only a couple moments where Pereira stunned him. There was a head kick. There was a couple other moments where he caught him with good shots, but mostly Ankalaev was controlling the distance, was putting the pressure on him, and we saw Poatan fight in what, you know, up till now is an uncharacteristic position. Backing up and avoiding shots.
Off the best.
Yeah, his UFC debut, got caught by...
Imagine a future where Aspinall or Gane is defending the belt against Magomed Ankalaev, a fighter with elite wrestling, sharp striking, and a style dangerous enough to reshape the heavyweight division all over again.
When the biggest star in the sport could go out there and underperform a little bit and the judges would give a screw job to the less popular guy, I could tell you plenty of times throughout history where Alex Pierre would still be wearing that belt, which is to beat the champion. You really got to beat the champion. Screwed the other guy to protect the champion. That's all that's ever meant. I'm not sure that the Alex Pierre that I saw isn't the greatest Alex Pierre I've ever seen. Alex is supposed to be somebody that you can go take down and beat up, particularly if you got a wrestling background, particularly if you got a wrestling background from Dagestan. That's the story. He never went down once. His Uncle of a man of his word. Does he get credit? Because his words were that I'm going to stand up and I'm going to kickbox with him. I'm going to beat him in the stand-up. That's exactly what he did. I, as a Pierre fan, what I want is Pierre at heavyweight. And if in a month from now we come out with a poster and it's Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pierre, I think you guys are pretty excited. That's my guess.
I think that Ankalaev just had him guessing a lot with, I think, Pereira's level on the ground. I don't know what level he's at, but I think he's still a bit wary of getting taken down. He definitely defended the takedowns well, but me with an educated eye watching it, I don't think Ankalaev was really trying to take him down that much. I think he definitely tried a couple of times. I think he did 10 or 11 takedown attempts, but I would say only 2 or 3 of them he went full blast. I think the rest of the time he was trying to tire him out with the grappling, standing, like the cage grappling stuff. So I think Ankalaev had the perfect game plan. He didn't overcommit, tired him out. I can't believe people watched that fight and thought that Pereira won. It was just wild to me that how many uneducated fans are out there, and how many uneducated fans thought it was a boring fight as well. I thought it was an amazing fight. Both guys did good, and I think that Ankalaev was just...
The MMA world is buzzing over Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane, with Joe Rogan calling Aspinall a generational talent, but still respecting Gane's elite striking. Fans are split, and with names like Jon Jones, Jailton Almeida, and Magomed Ankalaev lurking, this fight isn't just a matchup. It's a battle for the future of the heavyweight division.
It's not a conversation. So Tom should be able to take him down if he chooses to. So if Cyril Gane isn't training in Dagestan for 2-3 months, years, days, weeks,
or Arkansas,
brother.
Yeah, he's just go down there with brass.
Get up there with brass. If he's not just solely working on his grappling, then he's a fool. Yeah. And by the way, Tom's probably got bigger power. Tom might just knock him out on his feet as well. And I'm not saying that Cyril can't be a force and Cyril can't compete and Cyril can't surprise us all, because he can. And Tom knows that. That's why he'll train accordingly. But the grappling is a big question mark.
Big question mark. And I think if we're talking about their styles too, I think the one thing that you can give Cyril, other than maybe his unorthodox movement, the way he switches stances quite a bit, he kicks more. He uses a bit more tools, whereas Tom can kick. He can do it all, no doubt about it. He can knee and all of that. But I think that primarily the hands are where Tom really showcases himself and shines. Whereas Cyril, he can be a little tricky with kicks. He uses a lot of front kicks. He'll use a side kick. He'll attack like that lead knee and things like that. But again, those are also, if you do too much of that, those are opportunities for Aspinall to be able to get a hold of you and get you to the ground too. But I do think Tom's not going to be afraid to mix it up on the feet. I think he'll be smart about how he approaches the wrestling in that. I don't think he'll rush to it in any means. I think he's going to try to use his speed, use that boxing, try to hurt him, see if he can get him out of there with his hands first. And then I think if opportunity presents himself, he'll get a hold of the wrestling and try to go that route.
Well, he wasn't afraid to stand and trade with Sergey Pavlovich. You know what I mean? Who was knocking everybody out at the time.
The stakes are massive. If Aspinall loses, it could derail his hype and give Jon Jones an easy out from ever fighting him. If Gane loses, it might confirm critics who say he's just a striker without the tools to beat the new era. And if either man wins, the big question remains, who's next in line for them?